War going on in our streets. How many times do you hear people say, why don't they do something about the dangerous dogs? Well, in Manukau City, they are doing something. They've declared war, which means a zero tolerance for pit bulls, pit bull crosses, in fact, any unregistered dogs. A war that's putting the dog rangers on the front line, which means not only dealing with the dogs, but their angry owners. And as you'll shortly see, they can be as big a risk as the dogs themselves. So much so, the dog rangers when they launch their monthly raids, the police are having to go in to support them, because in many cases, it's the owners proving more aggressive than the dogs. We'll talk to Barry Gillingwater shortly, who heads the dog control service for Manukau and Wellington. But before that, Lorna White joined Manukau's dog control officers on their latest skirmish.
I can't do almost, but I haven't got any money on me. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's the only two options you have, and it's either register the dog, and we will give you the tag and everything on the spot, or we will seize the dog, and it's Section 42. You will be able to claim the dog back in 7 days.
We've had several complaints that there's been a few dogs roaming around and with the school kids walking past, so we're just trying to do our thing and protect the kids. The gentleman doesn't want to register it at this time, but we're hoping that he's going to go up and get some money out of the cash flow, and we'll get it sorted with him registering the dog.
Why doesn't he want to register it?
Oh, because he's saying it belongs to a mate overseas.
I mean, is this excuse an unusual one?
No, not really. It's happening all the time now. It's just, you know, people get these things and they can't afford to have them, unfortunately. It's like a car. If you've got a car, you have to register it.
In this case, $120 is finally found to register Moko, so he's not removed from the property.
I think it's just the government's way of getting more money out of us broke Marys on the street.
But people go, oh, why have you got a dog then?
Oh, it's, you know, it's just a part of the family, member of the family. Once you get attached to something, you know, it's hard to give up.
Get off my dog! You just leave my dog alone, please.
What's the story? Can you afford it? Can you pay the money or not?
I can pay it. Yeah. Part of.
OK, listen, what we have to do, we have to seize it because Manukau is saying that...
Will you please, this dog... Please, will you listen to me?
Yes, sure.
This dog is always under... It doesn't go out on the road.
Sure, yeah.
If you want to take this, if you want to let this dog go...
Get out of my place!
Come here, bud. Come here. Here.
Because this owner can't afford the registration fee, Benson's to be impounded. But there's a last-minute reprieve in the form of a sympathetic neighbour.
Do you want some money? Sorry, I don't want to belittle anything.
I need it, lady. I mean it. I need it. I don't have money to turn a pay.
I mean, I'm a pensioner, but I will give you some money.
Lady, I'm going to have to pay you.
So he's lived here for years, as long as I've lived in this street. And basically a little bit of time, and he could have done so.
Well, he's had the dog for 3 years, so he should know the rules about registering the dog. I mean, I think the ball's in his court, to be quite honest.
I mean, you can't make exceptions, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, why should we make exceptions for him when there's other people, I'm sure, that are worse off than he is? Anyway, what we hear about is the unregistered...
Smash it, boss. Can't come here. Sorry, Phil, if you don't want. That ain't even mine. That ain't even mine. That ain't my dog.
Can you please off? No, we're on I don't give off. Who do you think you are for me this off? Off! These are f***ing dogs, the two-legged ones.
People are becoming more aggro, more threatening, standover type thing. I mean, it's quite common now to just drive into a street and you get abused by guys, people driving past, that sort of stuff. You all right, love?
Yeah, no, she's all right.
Okay, no.
She doesn't quite, she just doesn't know.
As long as you're okay.
Too many. No, I'm fine.
This is probably about the 4th or 5th dog we've taken off them in the last 3 or 4 years. All the dogs they've had have been pit bulls or pit bull crosses. We're actually quite lucky that there's a few dogs here, because normally if they know that we're onto them, they'll disappear. So, good result, actually.
And just a few houses down, a much friendlier dog and its owner look on.
Oh, he's a Neapolitan Bull Mastiff, but I think he's probably just about the only one registered on my street.
And why did you decide to get him registered?
It's my son's pet. And yeah, he was given to me from my cousin, so I just keep getting him registered for my son. He's the same age as my boy. That's how friendly he is. They steal his collar. Man, he'll lick you to death.
And just to clarify, the reason they steal Ivan's dog collar is because it has that registered disc on it. Now, Barry Gillingwater, you're the head of dog control services for Manukau City. Is that what you're seeing as, is that typical? Is it unusual?
I would say not every day, but once or twice a week, yeah, pretty typical, normal day at the office. Just
the problem with the unregistered and the aggressive dogs, I mean, are there streets in that area which people would find it difficult to go down because of the dog? Is it that bad? There have been hot spots that we just keep blitzing them until they cool down. And you can go in there, round up 20 dogs, next night there's another 20. Is it a pit bull problem? Is there a pit bull problem? I'd like to think it is an aggressive problem, an aggressive dog problem. And during the media over recent months, you know, everyone focuses on the dog. I think you've got to look behind that and look at the reasons why. Why do you get them? I mean, you associate the pit bull type with the leathers, the chains and the tattooed brigade and the macho people. Yeah, they're there, they exist, but they're a small minority. I think the majority of people, certainly in our area, get the pit bull as a deterrent. It's sort of a self-defence. They're fed up with being robbed and burgled, and they want something that will deter people doing them a bit of grief. So they're a guard dog as opposed to Absolutely, a pet? But I mean, to have a guard dog, you don't necessarily have it though it's aggressive. I mean, if they keep it behind a fence, some people are, you know, probably too poor to build a fence, and then the dogs can rush off and monster joggers or whatever passing by. So it's the crime, it's to protect people's houses, the reason they get an aggressive dog. A lot of people have an aggressive dog because they feel safer. If they keep it locked behind a fence and a gate, then things are okay. But if the dog gets out, as happened recently in Middlemore car park, or they have a family barbecue and kids far now come around, dogs chained up, but someone gets too close, there's another attack into Middlemore. Where do they come from, the dogs? Probably bigger dogs. Where do they come from? You don't buy these at pet shops, a lot of crossbreeds, we're pretty standard crossbreeds. It's not only Manukau, there's hotspots all around the country. You compare notes with animal control professionals around New Zealand, pretty common in the cities, not in the rural areas, but it's a city problem. And it's not just, I mean, this isn't just a South Auckland problem, is it? No, definitely not. Definitely not. It would be, I would say there's a correlation, there's a definite linkage with the lower socio-economic, and look past the dogs, they're a symptom. I think if you're serious, if a government's serious about dealing with dog control, you attack the root cause, which I think is crime and poverty, and then there's no need for the dogs. So until people's lives are better, they're going to resort to anything they can? I think we're going to see more of the same. Does zero tolerance then, is that going to work? Well, it is working. There's a few cities embrace zero tolerance, Manukau being one, and there's a line in the sand. 90% of dog owners are not a problem. Most dog owners, like you and I, not a problem. And 90% of people are. But there's a 10% that either end up in court or through ignorance don't know the rules. So you've got to educate and enforce. See, because if poverty's a problem, Barry, I mean, you're not going to register it. And also with the microchipping now, that's another cost. I mean, I think Lorna was saying, which is out there talking to some of those people, they said, microchipping, we can't afford to, so you don't do anything, do you? Microchipping the existing dog, you don't have to. It's only when you renew it and get another one. But yes, that cost will hit. And that is a way that the legislation changes have used microchipping as a tool to try and manage through knowing which dogs are out there, and microchipping as overseas showed to be a good way to do that. But it has to be, it's only one of the tools. Microchipping on its own is no way, you shouldn't link microchipping with dangerous dogs. The two don't go together. OK, so apart from, as you say, tackling some of those root causes, poverty, crime, those sort of things, is this zero tolerance policy that we've seen here, does this need to be put in around the country? Is this the future? Well, I think the legislation throughout New Zealand's the same, wherever you live. Some councils seem to be more committed than others. And really, if you think your local council is not trying hard enough, well, write to your mayor or city manager and make your voice heard. You certainly won't change anything by keeping quiet. One last thing, if you see a dog you think is dangerous, who do you call?
If you think it's dangerous, all right.
No,
Who
but
do call? You call your local dog control, and if you basically what we tell kids, we tell people, if you see a dog you don't know, just leave it alone. Call the local council, dog control, get someone else. Don't go up to it. Just stay away. That's the best prevention for most dog bites on kids, for example. So leave it alone.
Barry Gillingwater, thanks for joining us tonight.
Pleasure.